live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. It's a Thursday evening, which means you know what it means. It is the fan forum time. And joining me tonight, we have Riza and Carl. Carl's been a while since we've seen you on the channel. And hopefully, we'll also be able to bring in Chris, who's having a couple of technical difficulties. But I'm hoping by the end of the session, we will be a four-person team. Which is going to be very exciting. So hopefully, yeah, we'll keep trying to bring in Chris, and then we'll hopefully be able to really get stuck in tonight. So first of all, before anything else, a big shout out to BetCoza, who are powering this stream. They are the official betting partners of Forever Sports. And if you would like to win big with BetCoza, then go and check out the description for the link. Go and sign up. You're going to be giving away free bets the entire weekend. And so, but you actually have to have a BetCoza account to be able to receive that free bet. So please go and actually sign up, because there's far too many people who are winning free bets, and we're trying to send you 300 rands worth of free bets, and they don't have an account. And yeah, it's all a bit of a waste, isn't it? If you've got a free bet and you don't, well, if you win a free bet and you can't use it because you don't have an account. So yeah, chaps, how are we?
Not too bad. Bunged up a bit as it is frigid here in Edinburgh, but I'm alive.
Yeah, you got 3 degrees, we've got 30 degrees. So very different problems, I think, that we're having. Reza, how are you surviving the heat?
Yeah, no, struggling a little bit. Different setup today. Got a little bit of air blowing through the back here, and trying to not sweat so much. But a little bit stress free this weekend. Got a little Lions win under the belt, which we'll talk about. So I'm a happy boy.
Yeah, and for the record, a week ago I did call it. I said the Lions could win.
Okay.
Well,
I don't know about call it. You maybe
go
at
back
best.
and watch. Go back and watch.
Well,
and
maybe at best you were just like, oh, let's just fool the gears.
I said they're gonna do it, and they did it. So I'll not take any slander here. I nailed it. And on my Friday show, I also said they were gonna win. I even called it. So yeah, at the end of the day, you want predictions. This is the man to speak to. Right, in terms of the show coming up, we're going to do a weekend review. We're going to talk about the URC, the Sharks lost to the Stormers, what it means, the return of Arceus Snyman last week, and Apele Fassi signing a new contract today. What is a good idea? Was it not a good idea? We're just talking about that. We're going to be doing a bit of a Six Nations preview. Italy versus Wales, England versus France, Scotland versus Ireland. We're going to be hopefully bringing in a BetCoza betting segment. And that is with, if we can get Chris on here, and he's going to go through a couple of the bets. If not, we'll still go look at the sports book and look at some of the bets that are out there and what the bookies are saying on some of the main matches. I'm going to wrap up with a Currie Cup preview, which does get underway tomorrow, in fact. And quite a blockbuster Currie Cup weekend to get underway. Let's discuss a little bit about what the Currie Cup means for South African rugby, and yeah, just sort of what the future of South African rugby is in terms of bringing the Currie Cup in and stuff. But let's start with the URC, shall we? We had a very interesting weekend. First of all, the Sharks lost to the Stormers. The Stormers pretty much dominated the Sharks and then decided to just stop playing rugby and allow the Sharks to come back. But Carl, we'll go to you first as a Sharks fan. Another loss, and all of a sudden, somebody the other day I think the commentator is saying, this loss means that, top four is looking unlikely. I've been saying for a couple of weeks now that top four is the least of your worries. I think top eight could potentially be a bit of a struggle for you guys.
My frustration with the Sharks is just we don't have a second team that can compete at all, and it's quite depressing to watch. We have some very good individuals, but as a team, they just don't work.
Well, that's the thing. You can't complain about a lack of personnel. Because pound for pound, you look at the Lions squad, for example, your second team is probably a better player per player team, but they're just not gelling on the park.
It's annoying, and I'm hoping that I didn't know about this whole John Plumtree thing until this morning when you guys were talking about it. So I'm very much hoping he's coming back.
Yeah, although I think the problems will stem a little bit further than just the coaching issues. But Reza, did you get to watch the match? What was your sort of take? As I said, the Stormers looked very comfortable, but then also really did their best to try and throw it away. But at the end of the day, they did wrap up the SA conference, and once again, the best team in South Africa by quite some distance.
Yeah, I think well deserved by the Stormers. I must be honest, when URC started and the Stormers' dominance started to show through, I was surprised, to be honest. I thought it would be a little bit more competitive than this. But credits to them. They seem to have got it together. They've come through the ashes of what was a really dismal financial position not so long ago and gotten it right. And it seems that the Sharks, I said this last week as well, just don't seem to know what to do with their money. and don't seem to know how to implement. So, yeah, I think they've got a lot of work to do. I do think they'll probably get their top 8. I think that they'll comfortably slide in. Maybe a bit of a bogey, especially against fellow SA teams. But yeah, I think we're all at a loss. We're still at a loss as to why they've got such a strong team on paper and can't seem to pull it together.
Yeah, and funny how different the approaches are when you've got the Stormers who are backing youngsters, backing players, fringe players really in South African rugby, the likes of Chiva Diamani discarded by the Lions, Marnie Liebach discarded by the Sharks, a Clayton Blommetjies who had to move from the Cheetahs, Willie Engelbert moved from the Cheetahs, Junior Pocamela, so many players who Evan Roos even who wasn't getting game time, and they've gone and found and identified talent, and they've gone and almost, for me, what's been quite cool, it's almost a little bit like a Bok approach when they've said, right, this is how we want to play, and they've identified players they need to be able to implement that system, and they've gotten it right. Whereas I feel like the Sharks, there's no identity in terms of how we're going to play the game. This is what we want to do. This is our structure. This is our game plan. Right. Who can we get to implement this? They've kind of gone, well, the Lions the Lions' 2 best players were Currie Cup and Vince Tuka. They were really good, so we're going to bring them in. And of course, we need a hooker, so we're going to bring in the Springbok hooker. And
Right.
we need a lock. So who better to get Evan Etzebeth? And you kind of sit there wondering, has there been much of a plan in terms of the profile of player as a player rather than the profile of player in terms of their not even their fame but the caliber of player rather than the type of player they are. So these are the 2 approaches. I mean, one obviously working, one not working. How do you think the Sharks can find that balance to get that right?
Well, I think they've already started it. Obviously, the big news coming out is the headhunting of John Plumtree, and yeah, I'm interested to see where that came from. Was it a true? Well, let's see how John's been doing lately in his other structures and his other teams over the years gone past, and we like what he's doing. Or is it a nostalgia thing and they know that he'll fit into the structures, fit into the culture, and then taking it from there? So I think there's, for me, a huge surprise to bring John Black back. Very successful as a Sharks coach, of course. But yeah, yeah, like we said, there's currently not a structure in place. And certainly they are bringing players into a structure that they haven't set. So hopefully they bring John in if they get it right. Which I believe they have, correct?
Well, nothing confirmed at this stage, but and also rumors, and there's also a couple of rumors about what role, whether he's going to come back as the head coach or whether he's going to come back in the sort of forwards coach role, which I think would probably be a better idea. I still think that Neil Powell can do a job down there. I think he's been in the job for 6 months and he's supposed to be the director of rugby, so I think now he's going to have a bit more sort of say over what things are going to try. But I mean, I look at that forward pack and think that's been, for me, that's what's been really letting them down in the last 2 weeks. They were bullied by Ulster and they didn't manage to pitch up against Stormers either. So I think even just as forwards coach, I think hopefully he could do a lot with a pack which on paper is silly. Sekumbozi Noches on the bench. You got Carly Sadi, who's now apparently leaving to the top 14, but he's been coming off the bench the entire season. Insuka Kunu is coming off the bench. It's a stacked forward pack that is not dominating teams.
Yeah, I guess I still wonder, is his best role to come back as a forwards coach? I know he's done it before for other teams. Of course, he left the Sharks to go to an assistant role. But yeah, it's a lot of personality in one room, a lot of winners in one room, and one has to wonder if you can actually do that. In this day and age, Neil Powell's a proven winner, and so is John Plumtree. Will they be able to work cohesively?
Carl, would you back Plumtree coming into that thing as an assistant, or do you think he has to be the main man?
I mean, he was. I remember him being the head coach, and it was whenever we were, let's say, losing at halftime and clearly not playing well, the team would then come out and play very well after being basically shat on to death at the halftime talk by Plumtree. He did well at the Canes as an assistant coach during that time, and I think at that point he certainly improved how they were playing, and they went on a run for quite a while of being a really, really good side. Still are, but they're struggling a bit more now. It does, for me, it does ring a bit of a, okay, we knee-jerk reaction like Wales, let's get Gatlin back because he'll turn this around. And I'm like, that's working. I don't know. I think My problem with the Sharks at the moment, and it's because of the way the new competitions have been introduced, and with the European Cup, is that we seem to have two squads, and one squad includes all the Springboks and one doesn't. And the problem is they're constantly brought in as a whole thing to play one game and then they're taken out again, and that's not helpful to the other part of the squad at all.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I think again, some people coming back sometimes work, and some people, yeah, they do come back, and things just don't go back as well as they were. Let's move on to some brighter things. The Lions and myself and Riza drank many a happy drink last week Saturday after that victory. And look, I mean, I think the Bulls, it must be said, didn't play particularly well, but I think the Lions played with a bit of belief and a bit of sort of never say die attitude. But I think it was also like it was a team that kind of just threw caution to the wind and said, you know what, we actually don't have anything to lose here. We've been poor for the last couple of weeks. Stuff it. Let's just have a go. And I mean, I thought Tanen and Humble was absolutely terrific. But I think it was a Lions team playing without fear, and they've always been their best when they play without fear. But Reese, what was your sort of take on that game?
Yeah, thanks. Absolutely. Special shout out for Nahamba. I'm sure we'll talk about him plenty today and in the weeks to come. But like you said, there was an identity crisis, I think, very similar to the Sharks happening at the Lions. And Rion mentioned it last week, and I fully agree with him in that they are better playing to their full potential when they're having that free-flowing game. And it's an identity that they've grown over the past couple of years. And of course, it's gone horribly wrong at times where they can put 50 points and also receive 60. But the point being is that it's a model that they've worked with, something that they can build on. And they're never going to be the 13-point team. And I think if they can get some confidence from this, a little bit of excitement, some individual performances as well, to just lift the mood, they can build on this. Definitely, it's a very positive performance against a very strong Bulls side, in my opinion. And yeah, from strength to strength and onwards and upwards.
Yeah, Carl, did you manage to watch the game and watch rugby as it should be played?
I didn't manage to watch that game. I was quite surprised when I saw the result though, but happy for it because it helps the Sharks in a way. So we need all the help we can get at this point.
Yeah, fair enough. Well,
Yeah,
know,
it's a terrible result for the Bulls.
Yeah, well, I think there again, a bit like the Sharks, you kind of expecting them to be able to get through, but they're just in such a bad run of form, and if they don't, once a little about the Sharks, if they need to be a bit cautious because if they do slip up a little bit, then they could be in a bit of trouble. In that top 8. So, yeah, look, obviously that, a couple of, I think they both basically need 2 more wins. So they can find 2 more wins, and you kind of think 2 out of, I think there's 4 games remaining.
3
games remaining. Yeah, last week was 4. Then, we should have been able to, we should be able to get the job done. But, yeah, I think that if they lose another game, for example, and they're sitting there, both of them staring down at the fact that they've got to win 2 out of the last 2, then I think they could be in a bit of trouble. I think they are both going to really benefit from the break, or they have to come off the break. But I think the Sharks not missing their Springboks has been massive. The Bulls, however, only get 2 players back, but hopefully a break will be able to give them a couple of weeks to. Yeah, maybe give some players a chance at the Currie Cup stuff like that, which we're going to talk about in a bit. But
if I could just give a little special shout out to Sabu and Corsi for what has been a really strong return. Yeah, fantastic to see him back in the park, and I'm loving every second of it. And yeah, I think big things coming up for him in the next year.
Yeah, and so good just to see him scoring and stuff again. Interesting enough, we saw today that it was announced that the Springbok squad will be announced on the 8th of August for the World Cup, and he's one player who has technically he's not been dropped. He was never dropped from the box. So is he still part of the World Cup plans, for example? Last year, and the reason I mentioned the fact that he wasn't ever dropped was that last year when they spoke about, we've got players injured and we've got players unavailable, they always mentioned, we don't have Spoo and Corsi, like they don't have Rachias Neyman. So last year he did still seem to be on the Bok radar. Interesting to see if that's changed now with the emergence of Currie Cup and Kane Moody, who are both training with the box. But I'll tell you what, I like Kane Moody a lot. I like Currie Cup a lot. When Spoo and Corsi's playing his best rugby, I think he is the best wing and currently playing in the country. You know, I think that we saw that performance he put in that semi-final back in 2019 against Wales, and when he's on song, I think there are a few players who keep him out of that side. So yeah, interesting to see how he goes in the next couple of months. But I think also a really cool template for how to deal with a situation like that. You know, a player who is struggling needs to take time away, and instead of sort of, you know, punishing for him for it and, you know, stuff, just to say, what, well, let's take the time, let's actually get it right and come back. And he looks like he's in a much better headspace. And yeah, I think that's us. I think it's a nice. We've seen it a couple of times with a couple of players. You know, Ben Stokes as well. Players who've actually felt the pressure, walked away, and come back a lot better. And I hope that I think this has been another sort of success story about that. So hopefully we'll see a bit more of that into sort of the future and stuff like that. We're busy trying to bring in Chris, although I'm not sure if we can hear him. I think things are still a little bit sketchy on the technological side. Chris, I don't know if you can hear us. I don't think we can hear you, unfortunately. No, it's not looking good. Okay, well, we'll keep trying with this. But in the meantime, we're going to have a look at the sportsbook for the weekend, the BetCoza Sportsbook, who, as I said, are our betting partners. And maybe Chris can send us a couple of bets that he's maybe looking out for on our group and stuff like that, and we can share what. Because I'm going to tell you what, at the end of the day, if you want to lose money, you can listen to what I'm going to do. So don't listen to what I'm going to do. Although if you had backed the Lions last week, like I did, you could have. I actually would have loved to have known what those odds were if we had gone back a week and looked at them. So I'm now seeing a bit of audio here from Chris. So let's see if we can actually try and bring him in. No, I'm just hearing. It sounds like he's on an airplane. Right, but just in terms of the sportsbook for the weekend, let's have a look, shall we? And look at some of the games and stuff like that. Right, and just so this is what the tomorrow looks like. For example, as I said, we've got some Currie Cup action happening, and tomorrow afternoon, which is going to be quite cool. Greek was taking on the Cheetahs. France Stain being named in the team, by the way, for Springbok fans that want to look out at and see what is happening with France Stain's fitness. So that's, I think, very worth watching tomorrow, literally purely from is France Stain playing good rugby and is he fit type of perspective. As you can see there, pretty even in terms of what the bookies are reckoning. Free State at 1.8, Greek was at 1.95, which I think is a bit harsh considering that you've got the Cheetahs who are about to go and play in a Challenge Cup last 16 game, and the Greekers who haven't played a basic game of rugby since the Currie Cup final last year. So yeah, I think I'm interested to see that Greekers are being back so much. But a couple of early games in the Super Rugby Pacific as well. For Saturday,
I'll be up for
that. So Chiefs versus Highlanders there. Highlanders obviously being back to do the business. Rebels versus Waratahs. Waratahs being favoured despite being the away side. I don't know how much Super Rugby you guys have been watching. I've watched a couple of clips, but just very quickly, maybe before we move on, what was the take on the Ardie Sevier incident? Because I thought that was quite an interesting. It's been quite an interesting debate. What are we saying about that?
Oh, I'll let Carl have a go at this one first. Yeah.
Like, I get it. I get why they've done what they've done. I think it's a bit PC. I think it's a bit too politically correct. Like, is a player really going to get upset by seeing that being done to him?
Is it so much about the player or about the audience?
What kids are seeing, yeah. I mean, obviously, World Rugby has to look at it from a holistic thing, but I mean, I don't know. Like you say, you can't do it during a game, but it's not like. I mean, they did take away that exact kind of thing from the haka.
Yeah, so that's my biggest thing as well. Is that people are like, oh, but it's in the haka, and people are like, but it's not anymore. You know, like they have said.
And in that sense, yes, I get it.
Really?
I feel like perhaps the punishment is slightly unnecessary. I think a lot of these things can be dealt with at not necessarily behind closed doors, but in a bit more of a listen. We've had a talk. We've given him an educational program, but to punish a guy for a reactionary thing like that is a bit harsh. I do think it can't be allowed. But yeah, that's my initial thoughts. I really don't think it needs to be much more than that. And it's like you said, it's been taken out of the haka. It's very clear to everyone that you're not allowed to do something like that, a show of extreme violence or threats or anything of the sort. And therefore, it's part and parcel of the game. I'm sure Artie's not moaning about it too much. And if he's not moaning, neither should we.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think he's got a one match ban, so I don't think it's anything too hectic. I also think it's 100% to do with the type of player. I mean, if the scrawny little scrum half does it to you, you're probably like meh. But if Artie Severe does it to you, I would be panicking. I must admit.
I disagree. I think Faf gets a 5-game ban for sure.
No, we're talking about New Zealand scrum half. No. So Springboks are a whole different thing. We know what would happen if a Springbok did that. He wouldn't be playing in the World Cup.
Oh yeah. Oh well.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't have been happy though watching RCV doing. Yeah, probably
I
just
think,
a bit of a pressure.
yeah.
So I would sort of just jump in that. So those are the games tomorrow. A couple of Six Nations under 20 action, and then Saturday, Super Saturday, as I'm calling it. There's a couple of Premiership games. Exeter Chiefs versus the Falcons there. Then we've got Super Rugby, the Fijian Drua versus Crusaders, who got off to a terrible start, but now looked a little bit back to their best. Hurricanes up against Blues. The Brumbies up against the Reds there, and the final game of the weekend is Western Force against Moana Pacifica. We've then got Italy versus Wales, the first game of the Six Nations. We'll talk about the Six Nations in a little bit, but Italy, interestingly enough, not being backed as the favourites. I think they're definitely the favourites walking into this, but not too much in it, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I think if you go look at the handicap, it'll be pretty low. Yeah, and the handicap sitting there at... there, 1.5. So not much in the handicap there, to be honest. And then we've got back to Saturday. We've got England versus France. France being backed. England are at home. Have made a couple of changes. We'll talk through those changes as well. And in a little bit. And then two Currie Cup matches: Sharks versus Griffins. As you can imagine, Sharks being back to do the business there. Western Province versus Lions, not much in it either, and I think that's probably also a lot to do with the fact that teams haven't come out. We've got no idea what sort of teams we're going to see in the Currie Cup, and we'll talk about that in a little bit as well. And then one game on Sunday rather, Scotland versus Ireland. I tell you what, I might take a cheeky punt on Scotland, to be honest, whether it's an outright winner or just the handicap at 7.5. I think that this game could be closer. I think that Ireland have been playing so well. But a little bit like France is sort of like, winning streaks are there to come to an end. So I do think that there could be a potential for a bit of a slip up there. And we're going to talk a bit more now when we go through it. But so that's kind of the book that we're looking at there. Another Currie Cup game there, Pumas versus Bulls. Interesting that Pumas aren't really back despite being the defending Currie Cup champions. So again, I think that'll all change tomorrow when we start to see some of the teams. But let's talk about the Six Nations, shall we? Because it's quite an interesting weekend ahead. And let's sort of go through the games. Italy versus Wales. Now, it's a very interesting Welsh side being picked. A lot of big names being left out. No Dan Biggar, no Alan Jones in the 23. No Flowerf being named on the bench, for example. So it's quite a strange Welsh side. But it's weird. I was saying before we went on air, I said it's a weird Welsh side in that I like almost every single player in the starting 15 and the 23, and yet the actual side doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence. But yeah, I mean, Carl, what do you reckon? Italy versus Wales. Is this going to be Italy 2-0 in the Six Nations against Wales in 2 years?
I mean, I really hope so, but my worry is that I think Capruzzo's injured, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's why the bookies are backing Wales. I think he's that important to their side. Monty Ioane, is he back? No, I don't think so.
No, still not playing at the moment.
Thing is, if Wales lose a fly half, then Italy win, I reckon. But at the same time, I really hope Italy win. It'd be great if Italy win, because I think Wales do need even more of a push to actually sort out rugby in their country. I think it was what's his name? The ex scrum half, Matt Phillips, or what's his name? Phillips.
Yeah.
He was talking about basically how 4 of the 5 club sides are bottom of the URC. How just that the national side is basically stone dead last. and that serious change needs to happen. And yes, it's done to a degree, but I don't think they're going to see the benefits of that for a while. But then again, them bringing in their youngsters and actually start, like, I think Alan Wynne-Jones not being there is probably a good thing. I also think Bigger being out probably a good thing as well, although they do need a reserve fly half. It'll be an interesting game. I reckon it'll be close.
Yeah, I think this Welsh side, look, I think Dan Bigger and Alan Jones will be involved in the World Cup. I think that's all pretty straightforward. So I think this is now Warren Gatland going, right, I've got 2 games left. I actually have to see where my squad is. I actually have to see what I've got going into this World Cup. I never backed not necessarily the appointment of Warren Gatland, but I think that to fire Wayne Pivac and the timing and stuff like that, I think that just took them out of the World Cup contention that automatically. And I think with all the behind the scenes action as well, hasn't already helped. They finally have signed a couple of resolutions, so it does look like they might be sort of moving into a bit of a better future. But Rees, Italy have looked very. I mean, it's a really exciting Italian side to get behind. Some really cool players to watch, and it's a Italy side you kind of want to always do well.
Yeah. Is this Italy at home or
Italy at home?
Wales?
Yeah, Italy at
Yeah.
home.
At home. Okay, so that changes my perspective a little bit. I was actually banking on a Wales win this weekend if it was at home, but I think it's the margins are that tight that a bit of a home crowd for Italy seals the deal for them. Yeah, for me, I'm so glad to see Alan Wynne-Jones out of that team. Frankly, I don't think he should be making it to a World Cup. I think it's actually ridiculous that he's been part of that conversation.
Hey, man's got to try to get to his 200 caps, dude. Don't be an enemy of progress.
Well, we had a very similar problem with John Smith for a long time. Where there was this milestone sort of barrier that everyone was rooting for, at arguably at the cost of a couple of performances. And now take that times it by 10, and you've got Alan Wynne-Jones. So, yeah, I don't know. I wonder. I just wonder. There's pandering to the public, and then there's this.
My problem with him still being there is like he will put in good performances, and I think he did last weekend. I think he was like one of the actual good players, but he's costing Wales in the form of they're not producing or they're not getting experience for their new locks who actually they don't have many, so they really need to get them experience.
I think that it's been a long time since I've looked at newcomers to national teams and God, that is an absolutely horrid performance, truly shitty.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that kind of plays into the people go, yeah, he's not playing terribly, but he's averaging, let's call it a 5.5, 6.5 every game out of 10. And for me, like you said, you could have a new guy roll into the setup and pull off those performances relatively consistently. Which makes me wonder what warrants his spot at that age. Mornay Stain came and did it for us in the Lions series at his age, and
please don't.
but I mean, he turned in 9 out of 10 performances, and I think that's what you need if you're going to keep someone in for that long. The same thing with the France Stain, etc., etc. Mike Phillips, by the way, is who you were talking about earlier.
That's it, yeah.
He was also an example of a player who was around a hell of a long time, but turning out crazy performances. So, yeah, that's the basis for me and my prejudice, let's call it, against one of the Joneses. But yeah, Italy win.
Right, there we go. So
well, I had the same problem about 10 years ago-ish with England's persistence with Mike Tyndall when he was about 400 years old. And I was like, for God's sake, stop.
Right, so you're going Italy win. I'm going Italy win. Carl, you're going Italy or Wales win?
Italy.
Right, we're all backing Italy. Right, next game is England versus France. Right. This English side I thought against Italy looked like they'd taken maybe half a step forward. And then against Wales, despite the victory, rolled up the good old Bok game plan and played one of the most dire games of rugby we've seen in a long time. Owen Farrell's been dropped. Marcus Smith's been backed next to Ollie Lawrence as well. So, proper hard-hitting centre. It is Genge will captain the side for the first time. No Courtney Lord, which I think is obviously quite a big loss. As an England fan, is there a chance? Do you back yourselves, or do you think this is going to be pretty straightforward for the current Six Nations champions?
I honestly think this is the best chance we have to win, with Smith at 10 and Lawrence at 12. I think playing defensively against a team that breaks you down for fun is going to be a shit idea. And we're going to have to try and match them in speed and match them in attacking flair. It's how Scotland played against them. Ireland smoked them towards the end. And I think playing conservatively against them would be a terrible idea.
Well, okay, fair enough. Reese, what do you reckon? Conservative or just stick to what you know?
I would, yeah. I think if they were able to pull off a Bach type brick wall approach, sure. Whether they have that in the locker, probably not. So, yeah, I would agree that the expansive approach is probably the correct way. Fire with fire, and see if you can get on top of them. I still am not entirely sure that France believe they are as good as they're playing. And I think if you can get on top of them early, you're probably in with a good chance. So held to leather from the first blow of the whistle, and they got a chance.
Right, fair enough. So, Carl, where do you think the game is won and lost?
To be honest, I think my key matchup will be Smith versus Intermac, because Intermac had a shite game against it, Ireland.
I've
He
been
was
very
not good.
underwhelmed by him, to be honest, this
Yeah.
exhibitions.
I'm so surprised that Jalibert has not started. I'm so surprised that and this is why I think if England can essentially rattle him and Smith can get firing through that channel with Lawrence, I think England have a very good shout at winning this game. If they don't, they're probably going to get screwed. But I think England aren't playing badly when they're expansive. I think Smith coming in is a risk, but it's something we need. I'd rather risk something and maybe lose, but in a very good performance, than try be very boring and get screwed.
Yeah, fair enough. I think maybe a bit of like a Lions approach. If nothing to lose, everything to gain. Go and throw the ball around, see what happens. And in the last game, Scotland versus versus Ireland. I think this could be a bit of a banana peel for Ireland. I think Ireland are actually quietly quite nervous, because I think the Scotland side, whilst they haven't, they're no longer, they lost to France. But to tell you what, that second half performance, they outplayed France. It's the Scottish side that you love and you hate, because I think it's the Scottish side that when they turn up, and they can turn up, you sit there going, shit, these guys can play. But they've also got moments where you're like, this is like watching an amateur side. So yeah, it's an interesting game. I think that if the Scotland pack can try and match the Irish pack, I do think that if the two backlines have to start running at each other and have to start getting involved, I do think that Finn Russell, Johnny Sexton, we sort of expect to see, if it can't. I think a lot can come down to which of those two really pitch up. I think the centre pairing is going to be a very interesting match. I think that's the exciting thing. I've looked at almost every single matchup in the entire sort of 23 or 15, and it excites me. But Reese, is this just going to be a walkover? Well, it's a pretty straightforward game for the current number ones, or do you think Scotland do pose a genuine threat to them?
No, not at all. I think that genuinely Scotland can come away with this. I do think that they need to have the correct game plan in place. And having looked at a lot of the punditry that's going around at the moment, and I would agree with most of it, is that I think this game is actually lost and won in the forwards. I really do believe the guys that get the set piece dominance, especially, will be the ones who come away with it, because really exciting backlines for both. But yeah, you've got to win those set pieces, and Scotland have been doing that really well, and Ireland have got the return of Tad Furlong, I believe, which is a scary prospect for their scrums. And yeah, it's going to be a very interesting battle, because I think Scotland are sitting best in line-out success and steals in the tournament. Yeah, I think up front is where it's won and lost, and let those backlines easily run free if you're able to assert that dominance.
Yeah, fair enough, Cal. Agree with that?
Yes, I would love Scotland to win. I really want them to, because I don't think if they don't win, I think Ireland get the Grand Slam. But I'm skeptical that they will. Just because I think Ireland are just that good. Even not playing to their best, they managed to sweep aside France. and Scotland have a habit of shooting themselves in the foot, like they tried to do against France. And France very much helped them by shooting themselves in the foot. But again, still let it slide. I'm definitely wanting Scotland to win, but I don't know how optimistic I am about it.
Yeah, I think, to be fair, I think a lot of Scottish fans will be like that. They'll be like, well, the thing is, they'll go into that match knowing that they can win, but that's very different to actually winning, you know. And some people say, oh, any team can win in the day, and no, it's not every team can win in the day. But I look at that side, and I do think that Scottish side have what it takes if they can string together a decent passage of play to get over the line. But I think I agree with Reese. I think it comes down to the packs, and there's always been a little bit of worry about the Scottish pack and whether it can really sort of get onto the front foot and dominate proceedings stuff. Just before we're going to go into our Betco's recommended bets, Chris has sent us a couple of nice bets for us to have a look at, and so we'll go through that very shortly. But before we do that, chaps, the Currie Cup starts this weekend, and Carl, I know you're over in the UK and you guys don't have nice things like the Currie Cup and Varsity Cup and things, but the Currie Cup's become a very hot topic in terms of its relevance within SA Rugby. Now, I did a live show on Tuesday, and I said there's two ways you can look at it. You can go the Jake White way, which is the Currie Cup is now watered down. It means nothing. We should retire it. We should just stop the competition. We should shelve it, and basically, you know, mount it in the hallmarks of SA Rugby and not have it anymore. And I think the other attitude is John Dobson, and he said, look, at the end of the day, it is what it is. You know, rugby has progressed. Things are new competitions, and he said, but the Currie Cup is still very important to us as a franchise, as a union. So, for example, he will be actually coaching the side himself. Well, their coaching staff will be doing the duties, not passing off to a different coaching staff, and they're going to use it to really develop depth, to give players that haven't been playing a chance, and to try and use it to really become a feeder system. Reese, I mean, we've grown up watching the Currie Cup. You know, loved watching the Currie, some great Currie Cups over the years, some great finals, watched some great players. Where are you with the Currie Cup? Do you think that it has lost all of its magic, or is there still something there that's valuable to SA Rugby?
It's really sad because I don't want to see it go as a fan, and I'm pretty sure everyone around the world is probably with you on that, because as rugby supporters, we are very nostalgic. But I wonder how much the viewer actually means to those involved in the Currie Cup. So John Dobson, like you said, it was talking about the internal structures and how important and pivotal it is to them to develop not only coaches, players, and so on. And it doesn't seem to me that he's too concerned about the viewership. And so my worry is that I would hate for them to drag this on and for it to become a financial burden. For no reason. However, if it's not becoming a financial burden, hell, if it even breaks even, I would say keep it around. But is that sustainable? I'm not entirely sure. But if it's got some value to the unions, sure. Yeah, but as long as it doesn't impact on the other areas. But as a product, I think it's dead in the water. But we've got such a big player base. As South Africans, we have the largest player base of professional rugby players in the world. You have to wonder, what does that do for the game? Where do these players go? Do we see another exodus of young talents at an even lower grassroots level than we already are seeing?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I think my frustration, I agree. I think the magic of the Currie Cup's been lost. But I don't think it's as simple as say, well, you know, the answering box playing, therefore it's a shit competition. And I'm having a lot of debates about it, because I'm saying that because my biggest thing, I said, you look at the Varsity Cup and how successful the Varsity Cup is, and how many people go to the Varsity Cup, and look what it's doing for SA Rugby. And everybody turns around and says, no, but people that watch the Varsity Cup don't watch it for the rugby. They just, you know, it's a party and it's a good time. And yes, I think there's definitely a certain amount of that, of, you know, just, well, let's go watch rugby and drink beer and stuff like that. But I look at the amount of people watching school rugby. I mean, super sports schools exist almost primarily based on the school rugby following. I look at the Varsity Cup, I look at 40,000 people into Loftus watching Stormers versus Bulls, and think that there's such a hunger for live sport and rugby in this country that surely we can still get the Currie Cup right, even without maybe the best players playing. I mean, there are still plenty of good players out. I mean, we've seen the Pumas go and win. I just think that there's just nobody that's really championing the Currie Cup. There's no innovation with the Currie Cup. There's no sort of how do we reinvigorate this competition? You know, how do we what can we add to the competition, and how do we take it to the people? At the moment, it's just like this, like the standard template. Everybody plays everybody home and away. You'll play at your normal stadiums. There's the fixtures. Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sport. For today's guide on how to watch Italy versus Wales on a free broadcaster. Right, and the question is, can Italy make it 2 wins out of 2 against Wales in the Six Nations? They beat them last year in Wales. Now they're facing a struggling and even more struggling and under pressure Wales, and this time in Italy. And the question is, how can you watch all the action? Right, well, I'll tell you exactly how you can, and that is through a VPN called ExpressVPN, because it's being shown live on ITV, and that means if you're within the UK, you can watch all the action on ITV for free. But if you're outside the UK, you can still watch all the action for free, but you got to use something called a VPN, which is a virtual private network, which basically geolocates your device to make it seem as if you are in the UK. So you can download ExpressVPN, link in the description, and you're gonna get a window that looks like this, and you're gonna click these 3 dots on the right hand side. That'll open up a bunch of locations, and you're going to go to the UK. Now, the reason we're going to do that is because here is ITV, and without it, we're going to try and watch it, and it says, bang, you're outside the UK. So then, here comes our VPN. You're going to turn it on. It's going to go around in circles, and it's going to be perfect. And then we're going to press OK, which will refresh the site. And sometimes you have to refresh once or twice, but all of a sudden, because we are now connected to a VPN, it now makes it seem as if our device is located within the UK. And as a result, we can then watch all the action live in HD. You don't have to sign in. You can create a free account. It doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to put in credit card details or anything like that. And bang, Bob's your uncle. There it is. It's all running. And it's literally as simple as that. So there really is no excuse to miss out on any of the action during this weekend. You can do this for both Italy versus Wales as well as England versus France. So get yourself a ExpressVPN. You can get a special deal. Forever Sports supporters get a 3 months free if they sign up for the year package. So yeah, check out the description, and we'll hopefully see you guys on there for the watch along as well. Please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven. I'll chat to you soon. Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sport. For today's guide on how to watch Italy versus Wales on a free broadcaster. Right, and the question is, can Italy make it 2 wins out of 2 against Wales in the Six Nations? They beat them last year in Wales. Now they're facing a struggling and even more struggling and under pressure Wales, and this time in Italy. And the question is, how can you watch all the action? Right, well, I'll tell you exactly how you can, and that is through a VPN called ExpressVPN, because it's being shown live on Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sport. The Six Nations is back, and we've got a very exciting game here today, as the Italy taking on Wales. And a year ago, this was a very important fixture in the realms of Italian rugby history, really, as they beat Wales for the very first time. Now, the question is, can they go and beat them once again? Well, we're about to find out, aren't we? And I personally think that Italy can do a job here. I tell you what, a lot of people have not been backing Italy as much as I have. I think this Italian side is worth some of the hype that they've got going around them. And should be a really exciting game to see exactly what is going to unfold. And we've got a poll running in the comments, so please do go and vote in that. Where is what channel is this on? There it is. And yeah, please go vote and let me know who you're backing in this game, who you think's going to win. It's a very interesting Welsh side that's been put out. Warren Gatton very much looking to try and build some depth with some of the selections that he has made, whilst Italy very much going with the tried and tested players as they search for their first, or both sides searching for their first win in the Six Nations this year and in this campaign. So it's a pretty big game for both of them, because this is the most winnable game for both sides. So whoever loses this game could well be at risk at not winning a single game throughout the entire Six Nations, which you don't really want to have as your sort of record, do you? But yeah, there's got to be somebody that doesn't. Well, not always has to be somebody that doesn't win a game, but these are the two worst teams in the competition, points wise. And so yeah, kind of the battle of the wooden spoon really is what we have here today. And after this game, we'll have England versus France. That should be quite an exciting game as well. And yeah, hopefully that'll live up to its billing, because some of the games have been disappointed sometimes. And I think that last English game, we also saw, we saw an England performance that wasn't particularly attractive to watch. And maybe that sounds a bit harsh, but it just, very, very sort of straightforward. I mean, as I said, I'm one of the first people to really sort of say that we need to start get away from complaining about the kicking game sort of idea and stuff. But it really was very sort of 10-man rugby-ish, and not what a lot of people like to watch in terms of a spectacle. So it'll be interesting to sort of see how that sort of all goes. But that is the game after this. First up, we do have the Italians taking on Wales. And once again, we've got a poll running in the comments. In terms of the two teams, shall we go through them, shall we? Before things get underway. Right, for the Italians, it's a pretty settled team in the pack. There are no changes there. Danilo Fascetti, Giacomo Nicotera, Simone Ferrari, Nicola Canone, Federico Razza, Sebastian Negri, Michele Omaro, the captain. And then you've got Lorenzo Canoni in the number 8 jersey. Stephen Varney, once again, partners Paolo Garbizzi, Pier Bruno, Eduardo Padovani, the two wings, Tommaso Menoncello, Joan Ignacio Brex in the midfield. But Tommaso Allen has come in for the injured Angie Capuzzo, World Breakthrough Player of the Year last year. Off the bench, Luca Bici, Federico Zani, Marco Riccioni, Eduardo Iacchesi, Giovanni Pettinelli, Manuel Giuliani, Alessandro Fasco, and Luca Marizzi. For Wales, lots and lots of changes. They made 21 changes throughout the various games in the Six Nations. Today, we've got Wyn Jones, Ken Owens, and Thomas Francis in the front row. Adam Beard is partnered by Alan Wyn Jones. There's no by Daph Jenkins. No Alan Wyn Jones in the 23. Jack Morgan comes to the side. He's with Justin Tipuric and Talapa Falatau. Reece Webb starts today next to Owen Williams, who's the only recognised fly half in the 23. Rio Dyer, Joe Hawkins, Mason Grady, Josh Adams, and Liam Williams make up the rest of the backline. Off the bench for the men in red, it is Scott Baldwin, Gareth Thomas, Dylan Lewis, Rhys Davies, Tommy Reffel, Thomas Williams, George North, and Louis Rees-Zammit. As I said, quite a few changes there coming in from the Welsh. Please do smash like on the video, by the way. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Maybe looking to try and get past 23,580, try and get to that 23,600 mark. So please do subscribe and help us get there. And let's hope for a really positive game. I'll be back right now. I'm just going to quickly get myself something to drink, and then we're going to be good to go. Right. All right, now we are sorted, people. Now we are ready to cook with some gas. So, are we ready? Are we excited? Italy will be playing left to right. They will have the kickoff. Paolo Garbizzi, the man with the ball in hand. Damon Murphy is our referee today. He will be backed up by Carl Dixon and Chris Busby. Joy Neville will be the TMO today. Last opportunity to get your score predictions as well. Please do go and put them down in the comments over there. Let me know who you're backing, who you think is going to score, and by how many. Also, a big shout out to BetCoza who are powering the stream. They are official betting partners as we do get things underway. Italy going down the right-hand side. It's an early touch for Joe Hawkins. And Reece Webb back into the Welsh side. And he's going to take a while in his first basket. Look to try and find touch here. I'm sure right up against the touchline there. He won't find touch. And it's contested there by Rio Dye. An interesting man to be named in the side today, ahead of the likes of Louis Rees-Zammit, which is quite a big call to not include Rees-Zammit, who's probably one of Wales, if not one of the best, if not the best player that they currently actually have. So, yeah, it's a pretty big call there to leave him out. And first Italian line, Nicotero goes up to the front of the lineup now. Michel Lamoro once again in that sort of scrum position. A little chip over the top, though. It's very well read by Rio Dye, who's into the thick of things quite quickly. And Reece Webb taking his time there. Now, first carry for the captain, Ken Owens. Now, Wales going down the left-hand side. A lot of space there. Liam Williams. He's got Rio Dye. It's a very big tackle coming in from Menoncello. He was very impressive against Ireland, especially from a defensive perspective. A nice, good early tackle for him. But penalty. I think it's penalty for Italy, actually, there. So I'm trying to work out what it's for. Looks like... And not releasing, I think, is the call there. So I'm not sure who actually got over that ball, but it's really well done by one of the Italian players. I'm not sure which Italian player it is, but it's a pretty good win from them. Oh, but yes, we are live indeed. First, another Italian lineup, but this time going back towards the Wales side. Wyn Jones eventually getting over there. And Nicotero was over there to try and win the ball back. But a penalty for Wales this time. So that's a penalty apiece. First or second Italian set piece. And not going to hand. So not a particularly good moment there from Giacomo Nicotero. Yeah, it's a really good line of steal there from Adam Beard, who is, very much the next generation. I think him and Will Rowlands, will ideally be the Welsh, lock pairing going into the World Cup if Will Rowlands can get fit, and they can sort out the cap rule and stuff. First now carry there for Talapa Falta in the midfield, going back to his research to Owen Williams in the pocket, who lifts it high for Josh Adams to chase. This will be a tester for Tommaso Allen, and he spills it, and Joao Ignacio Brix is there to try and clean up. And a couple of Italian players getting back there, including the captain, Michel Lamoro. That's well done. Looking for quick ball, though. Let's see Varney back to... it didn't look like got busy. And as they have found touch there, Italy, very good clearance. It is got busy. And a very nice clearance to touch that he does find just outside, just before the halfway line. So good exit play there from Italy. And... but yeah, I would say quite a nice start, quite a nice high-paced start here from both teams. And Wales not wasting any time getting the now there. It's a very good read there coming in. Joe Hawkins there now. Josh Adams pick up and go, trying to find a bit of work inside. Quick ball there going to Ken Owens, and Wales looking to play very quickly now. Once again, pick up and go. This time from Wyn Jones. Now Reece Webb supposed to be space on the right-hand side. Owen Williams cuts inside. So Joe Hawkins, in fact. Another carry there for Ken Owens. It's about a third carry in the first 4 minutes. Wyn Jones. Oh, that's a very good hit there, but a penalty advantage. I think we were offside there from the Italians. Now they go down the right-hand side. Adam Beard to Hawkins. Little chip ahead. And Varney's happy to watch around to touch. They will go back for the penalty. And you'd imagine that Wales will take this opportunity just to kick it into touch and have an early set piece. Okay, I'm just saying, how's it go? I just want to say congrats, Lions won Bulls last weekend. Why don't you do Currie Cup 2? We will start to look at doing Currie Cup. It's just yeah, first weekend, we've got to try and get a few things sorted and stuff like that. But we are looking to carry the Currie Cup. We did talk about it quite a lot in our fan forum that we did on Thursday, for example. So, yeah, there will be some Currie Cup coverage. Don't you stress. Right, so an early opportunity here for Owen Williams to get the scoreboard ticking. It is absolutely cooking. It is 30 degrees over here. Load shedding has kicked in, so I've got no fan on, and I'm absolutely roasting in this room. Another good restart and another involvement there for Joe Hawkins, who's got a big game ahead of him. As I said, no fly half actually been really named, or reserve fly named in the Wales 23. So if something were to happen to Owen Williams, then it looked like it could be Joe Hawkins that could be having to slot in there. Good take there from Italy though from the restart, as Wales do look to try and play a territory game, and really good rush defence coming as well. And Nicola Cannoni's been caught there. Stephen Vine looking for a quick ball going to Garbizzi. That's a pretty poor pass there. And it looks like a knock-on as well from Jean Ignacio Brex. That's really poor from Italy. Good rush defence. Justin Tipuric really sort of leading the line there, putting them under a lot of pressure. And a little bit of replacement there. Looks like a blood bin. So we have an early sub here. Oh, they're actually going to get a bit of treatment to try and wipe that blood off his face. Warren Gatlin looks on and his side lead by 3. Not the ideal start for Italy, who I've just looked a little bit shell-shocked. Really, have been pretty sloppy in the early stages. So just kind of need to settle into things. And for Wales, well, it's a very changed team. So it'd be impressive if they would be able to get together and pull out a victory. But just very very worrying signs at the moment for Welsh rugby, with just not being able to really find results, but also not really much in terms of developing a pattern of play, in terms of developing a 23 that looks like they're going to be able to compete with other teams. So they need to try and show something today. And they've started pretty well today, to be fair. Lions struggling against Western Province. Yeah, I saw that's in the background. Not surprised. A very good Western Province side that's been named. A lot of big players in there, like Ernst van Rijn, Clayton Blommetjies, John de Jong, Scarrant Benny, for example. Rather roasting than be cold. I suppose it depends. At least if it's cold and I don't have electricity, I can still put on jerseys. They're not really electricity reliant, are they? So early set piece now. First game of the day here for Wales. So on the far right-hand side, just for the 22, so it's got the full width of the field to work with. So it's a very good field position. It is available there for Reece Webb. And Joe Hawkins, as imagined, is the first receiver there. He stopped just shy of the 22. Quick ball now for Reece Webb. Jack Morgan getting involved there. That's a very good cam tackle on Thomas Francis. Ken Owens met hard in the tackle by Federico Raza. Oh, that's a good defensive read, but no nation breaks, and the tackle is completed there by Padavani. They've lost a good 10 meters there. And now chip over the top. Oh no, that's horrendous! The bounce of the rugby ball. Rio Dyer is over. He will score. Well, you talk about something out of nothing. And Paulo got busy. Cannot believe it. And Tommaso Allen, well, he's going to have to take a lot of the blame here. But talk about the bounce of the rugby ball. Just the ball chipped over the top from Reece Webb. Looked like there was nothing in it. And as Allen was coming across together, the ball just completely bouncing away from him, straight into the hands of Rio Dyer, who's into the side and onto the scoreboard. And I think that's just a bit of sloppiness, a bit of laziness, really. I'm trying to work out. I think it's actually... yeah, it's Pierre Bruno, actually, who very nonchalantly gets across there, allows the ball to bounce a second time, the ball bounces the ball, and you can see Paulo got busy. He's absolutely furious at that, because that was really, really soft. Right, well, 8-0. That's not the start that Italy would have liked. And now Owen Williams just pops it over the top. So Wales getting an early lead, 10 points nil after 10 points. They're scoring at a point a miniature. And not a good start for the Italians, who look very off the pace at the moment. Right, deep restart this time coming from Paulo Garbizzi. Reece Webb underneath it. And he pumps it downfield. Won't find touch. Right, it's Padavani with a bit of space from the back there. He's looking to try and run. And he runs straight into Reece Webb. And is driven back by Justin Tipuric. Not the two players I would have chosen. Reece Webb, not a bad one. But yeah, whenever Justin Tipuric's lurking out, I wouldn't say behind my list of players you should be really targeting. Big Terry there from Niccolo Canoni. But lots of Welsh players up and icing quickly. Now Stephen Varney sees a bit of space down the right hand side. But the ball bounces perfectly for Owen Williams, who hammers it downfield. Right, Garbizzi now. Just trying to find a touch there. Does find touch. Not his best touch finder by the 10 meter line. Doesn't look particularly happy. A bit frustrated is Garbizzi at the moment. And I think, just holding his arms out, looking at his fellow players, asking them what they're doing and what's going on. Because they just really haven't started off well at all. And the reason he's so upset is that they've said that he was actually outside the 22. So he's in fact gifted Wales with a 22-meter line out. That explains just quite why he was so upset. And yeah, the bad start for Italy just continues to get worse.
Justin Tipuric, the ball of the back to this side, Jack Morgan. Wheels rather play, but
Tell you what, this looks like a bit of a new Welsh side here. I'm enjoying the pace of play that they're busy playing. See quite a few pick up and go there from Jack Morgan into the side. Justin Tipuric thought about the pick up and go and then popping it up. So we see a bit of variation in the attack. What is going on? It almost looks like an organised Welsh side. Now Justin Tipuric this time putting his head down. Reece Webb. And it's good defence there as Wyn Jones is caught behind the advantage line. I think it's Fischetti that got it nice and quickly. Back to Williams, not too much on, so he just chips over the top. It's going to bounce again, and this time Tommaso Allen is there. Padavani will hammer this downfield. And he's managed to turn Rio Dyer, which will buy them a few seconds. Important for his Italian line to come up nice and flat. Liam Williams Chips and chases himself. Very, very well read there by Tommaso Allen, who pops it up, and now penalty for offside for Italy, so that'll be give them a temporary reprieve. And Varney now kicks it very early. That's a great kick. Goodness me, that's a brilliant kick from Stephen Varney. And he's put them right onto the 22. So this is now a big opportunity for Italy, who've started really poorly, but now Stephen Varney has put them in the perfect position to try and mount a bit of an early attack from the set piece. If you look at the field possession so far, 70% for Wales. But in no rush right now are Italy. This time it's a much better line coming from Italy. Now, long pass out to Jean and Escher Brex. Good wraparound, brilliant wraparound. The last pass. I'll tell you what, it could have been interesting. That pass goes to hand to Padovani, and it could have been on. Pierre Bruno wrapping around. And it was a great set move there from Italy. This is really, really good here. And just popping up there, really good hands. Sucking last man. And if that goes into hand, he probably doesn't go all the way, but I'll tell you what, at least it's a bit of a footwear. That's a very messy line though from Wales, and I think they've knocked it on. They have knocked it on. So it will be an Italian scrum. They'll have another opportunity. And the first scrum we saw was pretty even, to be fair. So there should be a pretty, if they can replicate that, they Italy should have a decent platform to attack from here. Decent scrum there from Italy. I tell you what, they're looking for the penalty here. Pick up and go. And will be a penalty for Italy. That's a huge scrum. Well, that's going to be a big boost for them. Not really an area you expect Italy to dominate, but that was a massive scrum. And Wales going back. It's a I think Lorenzo Canoni actually picked that up all up to try and go. Thomas Francis has got a bleeding ear, and he was under a lot of pressure there. But what a scrum that is from Italy, and they'll take a lot of heart from that. They're going to have a structure as well, so just want to try and get themselves back within a couple of points. That's a pretty good kick, and Italy will come within a converted try of Wales. As Tommaso Allen is into the side and has taken over the goal-kicking duty, so Paulo Gabizzi will not be kicking for goal today. And that's good from Italy to be able to get... I mean, it's the first time they've really been in any sort of good area to attack, and they've managed to find 3 points. So pretty good accuracy from them, and that'll do their conference a world of good. Yeah, Bruno now wrapping around from the kickoff. Pick up and go as well. So working nice and hard. Now got busy. It's a really good line being run there by, I think it was Canoni. Stephen Varney wants quick ball. They've got the numbers here, the Italy, but they're going to need good hands. Padovani cuts inside. It was a nice little offload there from Jean Brest. Good to see Italy continues to try and run things out of 22. Lorenzo Canoni. Sorry, Sebastian Negri. Now they go back to Tommaso Allen in the pocket. Owen Williams underneath that. Liam Williams goes up and he'll chase the up and under. But I think it's Paolo Gabizzi that's got up and done brilliantly to take that. So Italy do win the ball back. Stephen Varney, now quick ball It's good to have. It's nice to have Tomaso Allen in the side because you can then have a second first receiver available for you if Gobasi isn't available there, and he does come into the game there. However, it's good. Oh, the ball's come loose here. Turnover ball. Oh, yeah, this could be dreadful. Tabapa Fatal. And so Liam Williams down the side, cuts inside. He's still going as Liam Williams. Well, that is absolutely dreadful defending. It must be said. It is dreadful defending. It's a good counter attack from Wales. Liam Williams should not be scoring for that. I think he's just gone past 4 Italian defenders. That's some of the worst defending I've seen in a long time. This is almost the Italian of old. This is the Italy we've come to know over the last few years. Not the Italy we've seen in the last 18 months. And he's right up against touchline. Use the touchline, but instead he skipped inside like 3 or 4 half tackles, and he's bundled his way over, and he had absolutely no right to score whatsoever. He comes loose. Talafa Fatal just throws the long pass. Yeah, obviously they've got the numbers there, but there's 2 players around him. Bang, 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, it's dreadful. It is absolutely dreadful. It's a nice little step inside, but Stephen Vine's going to make that tackle. And they've got to do better there. They have to do better there. Josh Adams down receiving treatment, but he's back on his feet and looks like he should be all good to go. Alright, so Owen Williams, his third kickoff of the day. He's 2 from 2 so far. And that'll be remain at 2 from 2. So that one's a slice to the left-hand side. But Wales 15 points to 3. It's a high-scoring game so far, but it must. I mean, you look at this try, and this is just absolutely atrocious defending from Italy. Once again, Joe Hawkins underneath the ball from the restart. Big counter attack coming from Federico Razzo. Reese Webb eventually managed to get that ball out and finds Wynne Jones. Reese Webb asked for a couple of blockers here. Cadavani underneath it, and he's absolutely hammered by Rio Dyer. It's a very good chase coming in from the wing. Good support play from the Italian players. Now looking to try and counter attack. There's plenty of players. Michel Lamar almost through, and getting the offload away to Lorenzo Canoni up to the halfway line. Nice little moment there from the captain. Oh, now a bit of a fumble coming from Nicotera. Got busy. I said, enjoy the tempo so far. Got busy, lots of options there. And Fascetti takes the more direct one. And they've got a penalty advantage as well. So penalty for Italy for Wales not rolling away. And they go to Federico Razzo. Good take there from him in under 22, but Nicotera is broken early, and they got the offload away to Mancello. Charles Lamora, that's a nice carry from him as the Italy get into the 22. Yeah, I've seen Varney wrapping around, getting away to Padovani, inside ball. Mancello just stopping there. Almost too smart for their own good, actually. If they were trying to so many wraparound stuff, like at the end of the day, they didn't know where to go. And Manchella just sort of stopped the momentum. Now John Nation breaks, trying to get things going a bit better. Tomas Ellis, show and go! Tomas Ellis straight through, inside ball! Oh, it needs to be better to Barney. They're still going though, Italy. Brilliant break there from Tomas Ellis. Fantastic little show and go. They need a scrum off. Now Italy. They're about 10 meters out. Pachetti, that's nice and aggressive from him. Driving over the advantage line as well. Player's not rolling away. No, he's not rolled away, ref. He's not rolled away. Adam Beard is lying in the ruck. You cannot ignore that. You think that pass better to Barney, I think he potentially goes over. He also had 2 players on the outside. But I cannot understand how he's been penalised here. He's allowed to play it, but if you look at Adam Beard, he's still lying on top of that ruck. Yeah, I'm not convinced about that. I think that's pretty harsh. If I'm an Italian fan, I'll be pretty upset about that. You know, let's go Justin Tipperick. It's a good line out there. Reese Webb now. Listed high in the air. A couple of chases there. Justin Tipperick leading the charge. Pierre Bruno doesn't get there, and the ball comes back towards the Welsh side. Reese Webb pops it up to Mason Grady. We haven't seen much of him so far today. Webb now to Adam Beard, who stopped just short of the halfway line and driven back. Now back to Owen Williams. Owen Williams got a lot of backline players there chasing. This will be a good tester here. I think it's Pierre Bruno once again is losing out. Pierre Bruno's not had a particularly good half here, and I think it's Shane Morgan does very well to get back and dive on it. But Where's back on the halfway line. There's got a bit of space. Josh Adams comes back inside, up against Pierre Bruno, his opposite wing. Now slow ball this time for Reese. We're going Justin Tipperary, popping it up to Jack Morgan. He's taking a while to place this, so very slow ball now here for Wales. I'm going to end the poll there, people. I think we could be in trouble. That's a deep restart. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, busy just asking for the mark there. Brilliant. Yeah, it's a good decision from him. I think just slow things down. If they're a little bit frantic, I think is the right word to use. Now, deep restart there. Reese Webb goes inside to Liam Williams. What's Liam Williams going to do? Yeah, once again, he should have looked at the up and under for himself. It has gone quite far. So I got busy is there and ducks under the tackle of Liam Williams. Does very well there, does go busy. Stephen Varney pops it up to Lorenzo Canoni. Bumps off one. Italy back inside their own half. And very much looking to keep ball in hand, Italy, as they do tend to do. Jean Notia breaks, popping up to Garbizzi. Oh, showing go from Garbizzi. Now Garbizzi's off. And he brings in Padavani on the inside. Padavani to Stephen Varney. Stephen Varney's going himself. And he gives it away to Lorenzo Canoni. Has he got the pace? Mason Grady. Federico Raza. This could be brilliant if they can score it. I think Jean Breaks has lost it forward. Well, it's either one of the tries of the Six Nations or he's lost it forward in just frankly trying to put it down. Oh, this could be heroic. I mean, that was almost absolutely brilliant. That was almost the Italian side we love to watch, but I've got a bad feeling that he's lost it forward. This was brilliant, though. Paolo got busy. Inside ball to Padavani, the offloads, the support lines being run. Lorenzo Canoni, Federico Raza, all involved, working hard to make sure there were options for their teammates. But unfortunately, I've got a very bad feeling that Jean Ignacio Breaks has lost this over the line, which will be heartbreaking considering how good that was. And looking to see if it's a high tackle. Yeah, I'm not convinced there's pressure on that ball. Oh, I tell you what. I think this would be harsh if they were awarded. But yeah, I'm interested to see. I mean, they're talking about. I actually didn't hear if so on that angle. It doesn't look like he's actually control the ball. The other angle looks a bit better. But they're saying it's a penalty off the ball by 15 red. Oh wait, Joy, get involved. Don't let them override you. Yeah, she was saying that there was a tackle off the ball. Yeah, my question is about to say is yeah, 15 red. Yeah, see, Joy Neville has spotted something. So let's watch Liam Williams here. Yeah, but there is a tackle off the ball, so we can go back for a penalty advantage there. But now they want to look at the offside here. So when eventually gets brought down here, is there a ruck here? Because then they're looking to see if Owen Williams is offside. Quite a lot to go through here, actually. So they're looking at it offside. They're saying there's no grounding, but yeah, so Namara asking if there wasn't a ruck formed. And I think the Italian coaching staff agree with him. I think Joy Neville had a good point there. Liam Williams with the off the ball tackle, so probably should have been going back for a penalty potentially. I mean, that would have been absolutely. And now it's offside for Italy. I tell you what, the Italians are not going to be happy with the referee here. They've just been pinged for offside. After what they thought was a penalty try, should have been awarded. Yeah, and again, this is the thing about Italy is that the question is how do they cope when things aren't going well? How do they cope when they get a couple of decisions they don't believe is right? Can they cope? Can they go back to the drawing board and be okay with it, or do they um, panic and start conceding more tries because they're too busy worrying about the fact that they feel like they've been robbed than actually playing the game. And I tell you what, it's at this stage, it could become a 15-point game, but things can change quite quickly. And that's to the left from Owen Williams. So that's 2 He's almost in a row. Right, the restart from Gibbsy going down the right-hand side. Joe Hawkins gives it inside to Apa Falatau. I must admit, looking at that replay, I think Joy Neville wasn't. I don't know if she wasn't understood or if they just chose to ignore the fact, but she had talked about a blatant off the ball tackle by Liam Williams, which definitely was. So if they weren't going to award the try, that's fine. But surely you go back to the penalty for the off the ball tackle by Liam Williams on the player in that goal busy show and go. Now Nicotero now cleaning up, and the ball's gone a bit loose there. There's an advantage now. I'm not sure it's a penalty advantage or it's a knock-on advantage or what's going on. knock-on scrum for Italy. Yeah, I think that they can feel a bit aggrieved by that. I think even if they weren't going to award the try, I think you had to have gone back for a penalty for that tackle on from Liam Williams. And Joy Neville alerted to them. She said there is a off the ball tackle by 15 red, and they just refused to look at it. It's very weird. But as we near the half an hour period at this stage, Wales pretty in control. Italy have had some moments, which is kind of, I suppose, how Italy often play. They often do play in moments. You know, they can be very quiet and then all of a sudden have this, you know, phenomenal pasture play. And I think they're often guilty of not being able to be consistent enough with those sort of really exciting, you know, good passages of attacking play. So, yeah, the big thing about Italy is always defense, isn't it? You know, they know that they will score points throughout games. I'd be very surprised if they don't score a try today, but they do tend to concede too many points, and that's their problem, isn't it? And once again, they're sitting in now, staring down the barrel, 12 points behind to, you know, two tries, which maybe shouldn't have happened. You know, a try where, you know, I think Pierre Bruno was far too lackadaisical, let the ball bounce, and it bounced away from him. If he had just put in a bit more effort, he would have gotten there on the first bounce, and yeah, could have cleared it or whatever. And then, you know, 3-4 missed tackles on Liam Williams. So it's two really poor, sloppy moments for Italy that are the reason they're behind. And yeah, 12 points behind. That's a big mountain to climb already. So it's frustrating from them that despite the fact that they have moments defensively, they've got such poor lapses that it kind of takes them out of the game. Menoncello, we haven't seen too much of him. That's a really nice carry from him, getting over quite a few yards. Stephen Varney quickly to Carlo got busy. Long pass out wide. And it's a good kick as well. Josh Adams having come across here. And Josh Adams does find a clearance, and it's not a bad one either. They get up to the 10-meter line, so it's good under pressure there from Josh Adams, but it's a good net result from Italy. It progress 40 meters down the park, and we'll have a line-out to attack from as we enter the final 10 minutes of the first half. As it stands, Wales will go into 4 points. They would overtake Italy. A reminder that three sides in Scotland, England, and France currently sit on 10 points, and sitting on 15 points. Right, Raza. Straight to Varney. And Menoncello was, his ball to Lorenzo Canoni was pretty well telegraphed, and Wales was smart to it. Michel Lamar pick up and go. Now Sebastian Negri. Born just north of South Africa in Zimbabwe, as mentioned by the commentators. Now Menoncello first receiver, not too many options for him. Drifting to the side. Oh, now they're going to pick that up. Oh, I'll tell you what, I'm an Italian fan. I'll be fuming. I'll be absolutely fuming. They didn't, you know, they don't pick up a tackle off the ball. But this over here from Canoni, I mean, I think he drifts well enough to really say it. I don't think Justin Tipuric would have really tackled him. But they spotted that, but ignore the off the ball tackle. Yeah, I'd be very frustrated if I was the Italian player watching that penalty being awarded when they were denied a clear penalty in the earlier.
For 2 meters from Ian Carries against Arnold. 15 tackles from 15.
Now Simone Ferrari's going to have to go up again. He's been struggling with blood the entire game. And he's going to have to get a new headband, I think. Yeah, Vicioni will come on for the last few minutes, last 8 minutes of the first half, as Simone Ferrari goes and gets that head cut seen to. Probably the right decision, you know. You've got 8 minutes now. Go and actually get, if it needs a couple of stitches, go and put some stitches in. Get yourself sorted and come on to the second half. Justin Tipuric at the back of the line. It's a good take there from Wales. Good attacking platform there, not just outside the 22. Now, penalty advantage for collapsing the more. Sebastian Negri lying at the bottom there. Good scramble defense to Liam Williams, but he managed to free his hands. He's out to Reece Webb. Reece Webb, not too much on. Starts with the kick in behind, and it's just too heavy. They'll go back for the penalty. And interesting decision. Well, they've turned down the 3 points, have Wales, and instead gone for the corner. That's pretty good running more. This is going to be a try. It's going to be a try right for half time, I reckon. They're over. No, he wants to have a look here. I'll be saying fuming for Italy. Good morning, Spider-Mix saying from New Zealand, almost 4 a.m. Wales by 20. Well, jeepers, I enjoy the dedication. We're going to go upstairs over here. I'd be very surprised if they're going to find a grounding here because they just looked like it was chaos. On-field decision is no try. All right, let's see what's happening here. Oh, they're going to give a penalty try. Oh, that's going to go down like a bombshell. So Lorenzo Canoni has tripped and he's fallen underneath the maul, right behind the goal line. Penalty try and a yellow card. I would be absolutely fuming as an Italian player. To have missed earlier and then to see Lorenzo Canoni binned. This could get a little bit ugly here for Italy. I love how the commentator is saying it's a really careless decision of the Italian forward, as if he had any say in going down whatsoever. He's in the middle of a maul trying to defend it, and he's lost his footing. I don't think Lorenzo Canoni's thought, you know what would actually be a really good idea? I'm just going to lie down. I just think if I lie down underneath this maul, it'll stop the try. That's a good idea. That's what I'm going to do. Definitely don't think it was a deliberate decision for him to decide to just, lie down in the middle of the maul, bring it down, and get a yellow card. The 23 points to 3 penalty try, that could be 50-22, That is going to be 50-22. That, I'll tell you what, when things are going well, things are going well. Reece Weber's now just hammered in a ball in behind. And, nobody back for Italy. 50-22. Wales right back on the front foot. And this could be a bit of a catalyst as Wales' performance. Yes, I think Italy have looked in disarray, but that is a brilliant kick. Absolutely brilliant. Now, that's a brilliant turnover. Nicotera. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Wales looking very confident on the front foot, and he puts his arms all around that ball. He makes his tackle. So Garbizzi makes a good tackle on Joe Hawkins. Rio Dyer's there, and Nicotera says, thank you very much. I actually don't care if you're here. I'm just going to grab this ball next to you. And Rio Dyer, I'll tell you what, he won't want to watch that back. Good line up there, prominently. There in the 10-meter line there. We've got 4 minutes left to play. Pretty good maul here as well. Going quite a few yards. Now Stephen Varney trying to get that ball out. Does get that ball out. Goes to Sean Nasher, breaks. To got busy. Got busy. He's half a gap. Turns around. I think the ball's come off Melancello. I think forward. No, he's still going Melancello. Still going Melancello. Looked like a high tackle as well on him. This is really good front football. There's somebody's down there from the Italians. Turnover is fine, apparently. Yeah, advantage there. And a penalty for Italy. No, Kino is right, smart, knows he's on it. Yeah, he's trying to roll there and tripping Stephen Varney in the process. Pretty clear penalty. And the problem is Italy can't go for the 3-pointer. They've got to go to you've got to go to the corner here, do Italy, and they do. But yeah, I mean, not having Lorenzo Canoni, one of their primary ball carriers, is never going to help their cause. You know, Italy taking their time to get the line, as you suggest, and yeah, the best thing for them would be to try and score a try before half time, get themselves back within 12. There comes Simone Ferrari. Busy John Nation, Breaksman and Chiller looking to cook up something. Interesting to see what they do. I mean, it's always entertaining to see what Italy can do on front football and off set piece. The last running maul they had was pretty good, but this looks much better set check from Wales. Is that an advantage or is that a user to call? Yeah, it is an advantage. Stephen Varney goes to Johnny No-Show Brex. Goes himself. Well tackled there by Joe Hawkins. They do have a penalty advantage there to Italy, so free roll of the dice here, really. Varney nice and flat. Couple of nice carries there. Slow ball now for Varney. And No-Show Brex, well, he juggles and loses the forward. It'll go back for the penalty. This time they should be able to get themselves into the 5-meter line. So they'll be able to have another go here. Will Italy? What's just over a minute left. Yeah, got busy just chipping in to touch there on the 5-meter line now. So can Italy strike this before half time? They could with the man in the bin. I think that would be pretty. Took a lot of confidence out of that. The packs looked all right at stages, but and pretty average at some. You know, the maul before this had a very dominant maul, but at least try and replicate the one they had a little bit earlier. It's a good take once again. Looks pretty well set. Now they're looking really hard trying. There's a bit of a shove. Thomas Francis can't move. Now here comes the rest of the Italian team. They're piling in there, the Italians. They're still going. The ball's gone down. Ball's available though for Varney. He can't get it out there because there's a player lying on top of it. So no penalty advantage or anything. So apparently Wales did bring that down legally. Yeah, there's a penalty advantage not coming. I tell you what, that's 3 in a row. Michelle Lamora now. Varney going to Got busy chipping it over the top for Pierre Bruno. He's taken out Liam Williams in the air there. Josh Adams not happy. Josh Adams is never happy. He's always in people's face. He's always trying to box and stuff. But they're going to go back for the Italian penalty there. It's the 3rd penalty in a row. So we're going to be careful here. Oh, you're kidding me. They're not gonna give, I think, Wales the penalty for saying that Pierre Bruno took out Liam Williams in the air. Oh my goodness, they're saying it's 5 play, so now it's going to be a Welsh penalty. Yeah, listen, Italy are not going to be happy, eh? They're not going to be happy. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear, dear, dear. Right, so half time, and Wales leading 22 points to 3. I think Italy will be rightfully quite upset with life. Kieran Crowley found himself on the halfway line. I wonder if he's trying to pay a chat to the referee. But work to do for Italy in the second half. Wales have played pretty well, but Italy have defended pretty poorly. Penalty try as well. And not to mention the fact that I do think that Italy can feel quite hard done by. In the fact that when they almost had a try, a couple of people saying it was offside. There was also 2 off the ball tackles that weren't looked at, and could have been a penalty. And things could have been quite different, but could have been, should have been, and could have never, and should have never murdered a man. So you're going to do half time. When we come back, we will see what happened in the second half. Please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. We are trying to get to 23,600 subscribers today. So if any of you guys can help us out on that journey, I'd really appreciate that. Right, and we are back for the second half. Wales beating Italy 22 points to 3 as it stands. And yeah, very much the battle for the wooden spoon this match is. So if Italy want to try and not come last in Six Nations, then they're going to need to have a very big second half. And first things first, they're going to get Lorenzo Canoni back on the park, which is going to help their cause a lot. But yeah, it's been a frustrating game for Italy, and I think a penalty there coming from early on that'll help. They just need to basically try and take that first half and put it behind them. It wasn't a good half. I think a couple of frustrating decisions as well, and they'll be feeling quite aggrieved. But you cannot let that affect you. You've got to really be able to sort of settle down, get your mind right, and get your head into the right headspace, and not let that affect you too much, and just get back to basics really, and go and play a good game. So. Sorry, I thought Lorenzo Canoni was on, but he actually is not on yet. So Italy's still down to 14 men. Almost had a try right at the end. They had a penalty, in fact, where they could have gone to the 5-meter line. Then it was overturned. So yes, as I said, it's been a very frustrating game for Italy. I think there are a couple of penalties that have been awarded, and yeah, so I think they can be feeling quite aggrieved and quite rightfully in certain respects. But anyway, as I said, you can't let that affect you. You got to try and put in a good second half performance, and they're off to a good start now. A couple of nice carries. And they've been positive with ball in hand. And a couple of line breaks as well. Another line break as well. So Allen goes straight through. I tell you what. Oh, sorry, it's Menoncello. Slow ball there coming forward for Stephen Varney. Goes to Paulo, got busy. Ball over the top. Federico Razza puts his head down, runs straight into Josh Adams. Josh Adams is up to the task. Got busy, nice flat ball to Fischetti. This is really good. Ball carrying out for me to Italy now. Giannoso breaks, puts his head down, makes a couple of yards. Varney popping up. Oh, that's a great line being run by Sebastian Negri. Now penalty advantage as well. Stephen Varney looking to go himself. Marcel Allen. Who I tell you what, everybody kept saying that no Andrew Capuzzo mean this Italian side was going to be not good enough. But I think that to be fair, Tommaso Allen's actually played pretty well today. But I tell you what, Menoncello. What a line break it was. Michelle Lamora now carrying nicely. Popping up to the Stephen Varney. Goes away to Tommaso Allen. Tip over the top for him. Oh, no ways! Oh, no ways! What did I say? What did I say? They've hit back. Tommaso Allen, a little chip over the top. Sebastian Negri with the little chase there. Ball pops up. He manages to hold on. Bang! The Italians go. Thank you very much. We'll start the game, the second half off with a try. What a try! Yeah, I think he took it very personally, all the hype about saying that basically Italy are not going to be a good team because he's playing not Andrew Capuzzo, which to be fair was more about Capuzzo than him himself. But this is the nice thing. He's the playmaker, can play a fly half, a little chip over the top, and Sebastian Negri gets ahead, and Reece Webb will look at that thinking, how have I been outrun by a flank there? He's been really good so far as Reece Webb, but yeah, I think he was a little bit lazy there almost, and Sebastian Negri just wanted it more, didn't he? He wanted it more. And the extra 2 over as well, so Italy go 10 points to 22. Perfect start. If they score again, then all of a sudden, game on. Game on. Good restart there. And Lennon Speroni back on the park, so I can remove my yellow card. Oh, they've got numbers here. They've got numbers here. They've got numbers here. And they're on the outside. And now the inside there. Oh, bit of a fumble there, Stephen Varney. Oh, and the ball comes off the Welsh player out. I'll tell you what, that would have been interesting. Tommaso Allen once again involved there. Look at the handling. They're just the wraparounds, and they're so good. Now inside ball, got to go. Oh, if he takes it cleanly there, I think Stephen Varney. Oh, and once again, if that ball goes to hand, Pierre Bruno though needs to kind of get back a little bit. He was kind of ball watching. If he had tried to get back a couple of yards and Varney would have found him, he would have had clear space ahead of him. Watchalong, a good tackle there on Talapa Fairtown. He's falling the wrong way, in fact. The ball is available. Tell you what, that could have been interesting. They scored there, and I think Wales would have been a little bit shell-shocked. Right, Pierre Bruno. Hasn't had the best of games with Pierre Bruno. This is a bit better from him. Gives that ball away to Nicola Canoni, who shows and goes and eventually goes himself. Varney now going down the short side. That's really poor handling. And Joe Hawkins comes away with it. No ways. And Thomas Francis just trying to kick that ahead. Turnover ball now. Pierre Bruno. What? Oh no, if they've stopped this because of the injury, then I think Italy can rightfully be even more aggrieved, because earlier Italy had an injury and they didn't stop for it, and it almost resulted in, I think it almost did result in a try. Pierre Bruno now stuck out his arm and he's made contact with the neck of Wyn Jones. It's going to be an interesting decision incoming here. It's an elbow to the jaw. I think Pierre Bruno, who's been pretty dreadful the entire day, it must be said, I haven't impressed with him at all, and I think that could be the end of his game, you know. They're saying they're seeing upper chest. Shock and horror. The Welsh commentators reckon that it's direct contact to the jaw and should be a red card. Are we surprised? No. Right, so now Joy Neville's come in and said that it's directly to the neck. High level of force. $11 blue. It's a yellow card. I think a yellow card's fair, to be fair. I think it's about right. I don't think it was great. You know, you can't really be leading there. But and yeah, I mean, I think Pierre Bruno's been pretty awful all day. So I tell you what, I reckon they might be playing better without him. Wyn Jones has gone off. Is he going to head down the tunnel? I don't think he's injured. I think this is a tactical sub, to be fair. He was the man in question. But you're almost actually keeping that in play. Right, so another yellow card for Italy. The discipline for them, yeah, really costing them now. In terms of the game, yeah, I mean, Wales started pretty well. As I say, I think Italy have been frustrating. They had two really poor defensive moments, which has cost them 2 tries. They go down the side, right hand side. Yeah, Josh Adams. That's going to be held up. Of course he's held up. That's these Welsh commentators. Over the line, he scored. He's clearly held up. What game were you guys watching? Come on. Doesn't get much more clear as a hold up. I mean, really, chaps. Really. Yeah, Stephen Varney measures up to it all over that ball. Never, ever even came close to grounding it. Yeah, it's been an interesting game. It's been a weird game, actually. It started off... The tempo's been pretty good. It's been a high-tempo game, so it's been quite enjoyable from that perspective. Italy have been kind of characteristic Italy, haven't they? They've had some really bright moments of attack, some really poor moments of defense. And if they can't pull out the defense, they're never going to win, games consistently. they always look like scoring, don't they? They do look like scoring a lot of the time, and they have looked like scoring a couple of times. But the defense, for example, like this, now Josh Adams got busiest charged that down. If he didn't, I think that could have been try time. Josh Adams looked awful money like he was going down the right-hand side by himself. So really good work from the fly. He's had a really good game today. He's just a different level, isn't he? It's a pretty good carry there as well. Oh! What's this penalty for now? Oh, 13 blue tackle off the ball. Oh, no, mate. To put it in perspective, earlier in the game, Italy almost scored a try. Giorgio Nesho fumbled it over the line. In the build-up, there were 2 tackles off the ball. Joy Neville even alerted the referee to it and said there were 2 tackles off the ball. Oh, it's against Liam Williams. Who was the man who tackled off the ball? Oh, no. The Italians must be absolutely fuming. After they were denied a clear penalty for a tackle off the ball, they've now been penalised for a tackle off the ball. And the ironic thing is that the man who was tackled off the ball by Italy was the man who tackled the Italian player off the ball and got away with it in the first half. Is there no justice in the world? Is there no justice in the world, is what Italy will be asking. Right, only more coming from Wales. Remember that Italy are down to 40 men. Pierre Bruno in the bin, which I don't think is a bad thing for them. I think he's been that poor. But anyway, pretty good more defense. Surely they've got to use it now. You called it once. You called it twice. They still haven't used it, Mr. Ref. This is going to be turnover ball. It has to be turnover ball. Ball's available. And Hawkins has kicked it into Mason Grady, who's in front of him, just by the way. So turnover ball. And Allen does clear there. Yeah, Joy Hawkins not particularly impressed as he just kicked that into the backside of his outside centre. Right, Wales back towards the halfway line. Ken Owens goes to Justin Tipperick. This time they take it out quite quickly. Flat ball there for Hawkins, who pops it up for Mason Grady. Quick ball now for Reece Webb. Goes to the placement. We did see that Wyn Jones was off, so... Oh, he's gone straight through as Reece Webb, and he popped it up to Talapa Faletau. Faletau's going to go over. Well, that should be pretty much game, set, and match. Reece Webb has had a fantastic game. Garrett Thomas is on, by the way. And he's gone, I don't know what's happened there, we have to look at the replay, but he's gone tearing through the middle of the Italian defence. He's offloaded to Talapa Faletau, he's crashed over, and that will have knocked the wind out of the Italian sails. Yeah, you see, and I think it's Michel Lamari who's been caught out there. No, it's Nicotera, actually. What a game Reece Webb is having, though, by the way. What a game he is having. 27 points to 10 with the kick to come, and it should be pretty straightforward. 29 points to 10. You want to think that that's probably it.
Potentially, we also see that maturity in players. They become far more selfless as they age into the game. When you start, it's all about what you can directly do, but as you mature into the game, you realise this the moments you have as a link player with the rest that really take dividends to your game.
Right, Owen Williams this time gets it through the middle, so they open up a 19-point gap. And as I said, you got to think that's probably the game. frustrating for Italy, who looked like they're starting, and here comes George. I mean, imagine, you're losing by 19 points, and now you're about to put on Louis Rees-Zammit and George North. It must be nice. Must be nice. I'm surprised they didn't start, to be honest. But, yeah, they'll be very... Warren Gatton will be very chuffed with this. They've needed a response, and this has been a pretty good one so far. Josh Adams does make way. Louis Rees-Zammit will take his place. George North on probably for Mason Grady. Yeah, I don't think Josh Adams is particularly impressed with me coming off there. Yeah, Louis Rees-Zammit is on, and just see if George North is on as well. It's just outside the 22 here are Wales, so Rees-Webb can't get directly into touch. Doesn't go straight into touch. And the ball falls back to Tapafata. Knock on advantage for Wales. Rees-Webb spots a bit of space in behind, so he hammers that. Tomasa Allen is back. And he'll just look to try and find touch. And does find touch. Couple of subs here for Italy. Number 21 on, which is Manuel Zuliani. I think it could have been Pettinelli who's going on with him as well. All over the top. That's really well worked. Rees-Webb going to Owen Williams. He goes to Rees-Zammit. I'll tell you what, that's the position you'd like to see Rees-Zammit. Now Liam Williams. And that's a horrible pass from Liam Williams, who's just tossed it forward. It's gone forward and out into touch. And I'll tell you what, Rees-Zammit was looping around. Somebody of his pace, exactly the kind of position. It's a really good set move there from Wales. Ball straight over the top of the line out. Owen Williams just brings in Rees-Zammit. And I think Rees-Zammit's problem is actually he straightens there. And then no look pass there from Liam Williams, who also then jumps into the tackles, by the way. And Rio Dyer, you can see the distraught in his face. Dylan Lewis now on for Wales, which means that Thomas Francis has made way. Rees-Webb stretching it out. Rees-Webb stretching it out, so I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see Thomas Williams onto the park quite soon. He's had a very good game, though, has the Welsh scrum off.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in regards to how they progress on the field, if you look at Wales, it's about their kicking game. All over the Italians, it's about their carrying game. They also got their kicking game. Who's going to get them?
Right, so scrum here for Italy. 1.5 minutes left on the yellow card to Pierre Bruno. Penalty there from Italy, so they'll have a bit of a free exit there. First scrum for the two new props and Wales, and they have both been penalised. Collapsing, I think it's against Dylan Lewis. So we will be live for the game after this. Lions 28, Province 44. Hey, I mean, at least it's an entertaining game. Lions must have scored a couple towards the end there. Yeah, it's probably a game I thought it would be a little bit closer. Not completely surprised by the result. I thought that it's a much better Province side than a Lions side. But yeah, at least hopefully it was a good game to watch. At least it's a bit of entertainment. We've got to make sure this Currie Cup's entertaining. Otherwise, nobody's going to give a damn about it. They got a Federico Razda. Bit of a fumble there from Lamora. Barney. Oh, that's just a really poor mistake. I mean, Ancello, who's been so good the entire game, has just lost it forward. That's just basics. That's just concentration now. Yeah, straight towards. It was a good pass for Stephen Varney, and Menoncello just, yeah, you can't be dropping that. That is really, really poor. Here comes Pierre Bruno. We'll be on after the next patch to play. So some exciting news. We will be moving into a different studio for the England versus France game. We do have a new look studio that we are going to be unveiling for it. And yeah, it's going to be a bit of a trialing, a bit of a new experience as well. So very keen to see how what you guys think of it. So stick around for the next game because yeah, we're testing it out for the first time. That's another big scrum. It's a good-looking scrum coming from Italy. It'll be a reset, but yeah, I'm very keen to show you guys and see what you guys think of it because yeah, we're always trying to do some new stuff here on the channel. So yeah, hopefully you guys like it. Hopefully you enjoy what we've got to show you. And it's a free kick for Italy. So yeah, so the Welsh scrum not looking particularly good at the moment. Yeah, on Arsenal scrum, that's not a bad shot either. Yeah, lots of chats between in the back line about what they're going to do with this ball. There comes a couple of new players. The Bruno is back on, and Alessandro Fusco comes on as well. So that'll be the end of Varney's game. I thought he looked much better today. He's been struggling a little bit recently as Stephen Varney, but I thought today he looked much more like the player that they really need him to be. I think him and Garbizzi are very much the future. They're a halfback pair. They're going to play. They could play 100 tests together. Such as the difference in golf quality between them and their backups when they're playing at their best. So, yeah, a much better game there, I thought, from Stephen Varney. And hopefully we'll see him really kick on in the years to come. A really high rated scrum off. Him and Garbizzi are being backed a lot. So, Alessandro Fusco is on. They go to a nation break. So they do have a penalty advantage there. Ball out wide to Padovani. Kicks over the top. Oh! Advantage over, apparently. The restart from Wales going down the throat of, I think it's Fusco there. So now Watchalong, the captain. Sorry, it's Eleza Canone who runs into Adam Beard, who's up to the task. Wow. Commentator literally just said spend 10 minutes in the gulag. I mean, that is dreadful, chat. Now, Johnny Nation breaks fights. Oh, jeepers, he's just run over Rio Die. Goodness me. And then the ball spurts out to the side. I mean, that kind of sums it up. Every single time there's been a bit of good for Italy. It's just kind of been backed up with some really bad moments. Now, top of the chip and chase over the top. Johnny Nation breaks the bounce the ball. Bounce back to Federico Razza. He gives it to Pierre Bruno. Manages to stay inside. It's pretty all sporadic at the moment. Now it breaks at first receiver. Got busy holding onto the ball there. Manchester seeing a half a gap, which was closed by Jack Morgan pretty well. Pick up and go coming. Now Canone is very isolated, and a couple of players do arrive. So I'm enjoying the fact that they're not going to give up here. Are Italy now ball over the top, trying to turn. That's a Thomas Williams on. Rio Die back inside towards Liam Williams. Williams wants to bring up that torpedo. And it's much better work from Pierre Bruno. He covers it well. Now Pierre Bruno returns. Looking for that 50-22, but he's not going to get the bounce. Thomas Williams keeps it in. Yeah, I think he thought it went a lot further. I think it had gone out and then kind of sort of held its line a little bit there. But break and play here, Italy do have an injury. It doesn't look particularly good either. Yeah, Menachella unfortunately will depart. He's been really good once again. I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing from him. And once again, you know, a nice young player for Italy to really develop. You know, just 20 years of age. I mean, you think of how young he is and yet how well he's playing. This Italian side, I think in 5-6 years could be very exciting. Let's go turnover ball there. Yeah, I must admit, I think the refereeing has left a little bit to be desired tonight. I haven't particularly impressed with it. I don't like talking about refereeing. I really don't. It really frustrates me if I do have to. But it's not been great, to be honest. It's not been great. Hopefully the refereeing between France and England will be much better. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Right, as it stands, Wales will go. They've got a bonus point, by the way, so they'll go up to 5 points. Italy will remain on 1. And then we've got England versus France, both on 10 points. They'll be looking for a bonus point win. One of them, either of them, will be looking for a bonus point win to try and go level with Ireland, and then hoping that Scotland can do everybody a favour and blow the entire Six Nations right open when they face off tomorrow at Murrayfield. To Rusty. I don't think I've got time to go and create a full-length video about what's going on. So no need to worry about that. But yeah, I just think the Italians will probably rightfully feel quite aggrieved about a couple of calls that they've received. That's a much better scrum from Wales. They do get the penalty. They've been under the pump a little bit there. Yeah, Dylan Lewis. I mean, mate, you've been out-scrummed by an Italian pack 3 times. You get 1 over them, and now you want to get big. Props, eh? Props. What are you going to do? Well, he's cut his head open for his measures, for good measures, so... You see, I mean, Lewis is literally, yeah, there, and then he goes back in and has a second go at that other prop. So, yeah, I mean, it's him trying to, you know, assert himself. But, yeah, they're not finding touch there, so that's a bit of a get out of jail free. And Tomas Allen has hammered that downfield. Will he be able to find touch? No, he won't. Williams goes inside to Liam Williams. Williams to Williams. Liam was on the air. Is he going to be able to contest? Oh, jeepers. Well, he's completely taken us. Stop, referee. They're both down to head injury. You've got to stop the game, you idiot. Stop the game, you more. I mean, jeepers. They've both gone down with a head clash. Now you're going to stop the freaking game. I mean, it looks like they're both winded, but the way they both go down... I don't know how he doesn't stop that immediately. The way that both those players down, I mean, Fusco goes down, doesn't even move. Alright, there goes William Williams, by the way. I don't think it's anything too serious. I think he's just been winded. So George North will see off the game. Now, it'll be interesting to see who goes where here, because George North played mostly at outside centre and on the wing. I want to imagine, I mean, we've seen Louis Rees-Zammit go into full back. We've seen him start at full back for Wales. So I want to imagine we'll see George North go to the right wing and Louis Rees-Zammit move into full back. That would be what I would imagine, and that does look to be the case. I think that is George North on the right-hand side. And then, yeah, Louis Rees-Zammit's gone to full back. Yeah, good wrapping around. First goes first straight through. Needs support. No, he gives himself. He's still going. That was good. And he was definitely right to hold on to that. John Nosa bricks. Not the best pass. And then they're kicking behind. And it'll just run out. Jeepers me. That's a nice little break from Alessandro Fasco. Look at the wrap around there. Bang, bang, bang. He's got the pace. Goes straight through. Thank you very much. And then trying to kick him behind. To be fair, I think Badavani, I don't think was expecting. I think had he been expected, he actually might have gotten it. But it's another chance going begging, really, for Italy. As good as some of their moves have been, you can't just have good moves to get you to the 5-meter line. You've got to be able to get over. So they've been about half a yard off today. I think it's been a combination in terms of if Wales have played well versus Italy played badly. I think Wales have been much better. I think they've kept it more simple. I think they've stuck to their strengths. But I do think Italy have definitely not been the Italian side we've seen in the last couple of games. But there's a bit of space here for Jean Nacho bricks. Steps inside, still going. Now flat there. Italy looking to try and finish on a bit of a flurry here. Sheldon Morrow cut down. 15 minutes left. Pettinelli now trying to go over the advantage line himself. Bricks. Balls come loose. And then, yeah, Mason Gray's not allowed to play that. So it's penalty for offside. Now it's a bit of afters. And Flisco is having a go at Mason Grady. Not sure it's particularly even fight that. Now, again, we were talking to here, will the referee. Right, just a bit of a warning there to both captains to say keep the discipline up as we head into the last sort of 15 minutes of the game. Right, what can Italy conjure up later in the game? Much better line to go to the front of the line there. Looking for the rolling more, yeah, Italy. There's a bit of space down the left-hand side. And a penalty advantage as well. And they've come through and played Fusco as well. So penalty for Italy. This time they'll be able to go to the 5-meter line. So more of the same, I'm sure, will be the call. 5 Reddits against Adam Beard. Right, they're literally 5 meters out. So not last opportunity, but an opportunity for Italy to maybe give themselves a bit of a reason to play. I mean, 2 more tries, get themselves in 7. They can weave with a bonus point. 19 points in 15 minutes would be impressive if they were to do that, especially if they then. Well, why do that? You've gone the 2-ball line and you secured it. You've now decided you're going to go to the back of the line. Justin Tipperik's come up and just pluck that out of the sky. That's really good work by the Welsh number 7. But from Italy, you've got what a brain fade. But they have, however, managed to get their arms through to the maul and they've turned it over. So it will be turnover ball. They will have a scrum now. So it's still a bit of a wasted opportunity, but at least they do end up having a scrum. Yeah, pretty desperate after losing that. Right, so Wales have lost one scrum. Italy haven't lost a single scrum, so it bodes well for them in terms of having a solid set piece to work off. And, I mean, come on, the way that they have managed to create so many line breaks, surely now, 30 yards out from the try line, they can create something to get them over the line. Ball is available for Fusco. He's going himself, plenty of advantage as well. Here, Bruno straight in the middle, two generation brace, and they're over. As I said, they've got things, they've always had the ability to create some line breaks throughout the game off the back of their scrum. And bang, they no-shot breaks, who's worked so hard today. He goes over. Pierre Bruno, they try assist, they're almost getting through. Then uploading to Jean-Ignacio Bricks. And there's Fusco there, who just drips, brings in a really nice dummy line being run as well. And then just pops it up to Ignacio Bricks. Nobody ahead of him, he goes over. Yeah, and I tell you what, you don't want to be defending Italy off a set piece. They've got some really innovative stuff when they've got solid ball. The ball it is converted, 17 points, 29, and well, it's 12 minutes to go. You'll never say never, but Italy will have to score again and quickly if they want to get anything out of this game. And a great take from Ignacio Brace. It's actually behind him. Come on, man, a quick try, make this interesting. Chaos says, why is Supersport only showing the Currie Cup game? Trying to watch Six Nations. 206, I think, is what you're looking for. Variety 1. That is where they are showing the Six Nations. But England versus France will actually be on the grandstand as well. So don't you stress. They are showing it. Right, there goes Ken Owens. He leads past the park. There's the Welsh captain. And Scott Baldwin, rather, onto the park. Tommy Raphael as well is on. So Rhys Davies, the only player at this stage. No, there he is. Rhys Davies is on as well. So Wales have completely emptied their bench. Petronelli, the only player who hasn't come on for Italy so far. Right, nice and solid, and a great carry there from Luca Marizzi. Ah, japers me. And Garbizzi, you can't believe it. I mean, they once again, they're looking not to kick from their inside their own 22. He's just popped it up to Riccioni, who's just dropped it right. I mean, this is dreadful. Yeah, I don't think he was expecting it. I think that he thought he was running a dummy line. And Garbizzi's not particularly happy. And all of a sudden, Wales have got a scrum inside the 22. Look at that. That's a look of pain on Garbizzi's face. 9 handling errors from Italy. Yes, definitely a work on for them. You just got to get up the discipline, up the handling. Just try and get a little bit better at the basics. And you will definitely be more competitive. But, yeah, once again, though, and maybe this is me being too overly optimistic, they are positive. As I said, I do think this Italian side is an exciting prospect. I think there's some very nice, very young players in this Italian side. The scrum, for example, has looked much better today. You don't often see that. Type of Falatau has actually knocked that on. So it's going to be turnover ball. So the scrum's been pretty good. Menoncello, once again, 20-year-old with another impressive performance. Paulo Garbizzi's pulled a few strings. And I think that if they just had their defense just a little bit better, and they're maybe more willing to, kick from outside 20 inside the 22. I like the ambition of always trying to run it out, but sometimes you just got to be practical and realistic and understand when it's on and when it's not. And for the most part, I don't think it has been on, and they've still done it. And they've gotten themselves in a situation like this. Paulo Garbizzi kicks that upfield. They don't find themselves, with the scrum inside the 22. Thankfully, they've managed to force a knock on Falatau, so it's turnover ball. But they shouldn't have been in that situation anyway. Right, Fusco. Left-hand side there, Garbizzi. Bit of an overlap. Marizzi going himself. Out to Master Allen. Tipper, I tell you what, it's been absolutely. I'd love to look at the amount of tackles he's made. He's absolutely led that Welsh defense. Such a hard-working player. Rhys Zamenan, the high ball, playing in at full-back off the injury to Liam Williams. Spots a bit of space on the outside, gets away from one. Doesn't get away from Padovani. I tell you what, that could be a penalty, but that's an absolutely brilliant penalty. That's a brilliant, in terms of winning a turn over the ground, this is what you want to show. And missed the tackle, Bruno. Padavani managed to jump in, makes the tackle, and Reese, and bang! The timing from Zuliani there is absolutely superb. Penalty for Italy into the last 10 minutes. Can they create a bit of a scare? You know, it would be fun, wouldn't it? Just go and try. Let's go score a try right now, and let's see what we can do. Italy says I'm magnificent, says LB, Steve P. Our predictions aren't looking so hard. Yeah, no, listen, Reza, there's a reason we don't give betting advice, to be fair. And I don't think we've gotten anything right so far. Oh, inside ball! Oh, jeepers, I'll tell you what. That looked very promising. Nice little set move from the line out. They're just outside of 22. It's just a fun side to watch, isn't it? Even if they don't win games, it's just fun. Just vibes. Now, not too much on. Little kick in behind, and let's actually just turn over the ball. Why do that? Why do that? There's no patience, though. There's no patience. There's no need for that little kick in behind. I understand there are no options, but just take contact and let's recycle. Moments like that are why Italy can't progress. There's no need to kick that whatsoever. Now Thomas Williams is going to have an opportunity to play a bit of territory game. He's going to hammer that downfield. Right, now Italy rebuilding from inside their own half. And that's gone behind Ignacio Brex. Pierre Bruno cutting inside. Under a lot of pressure, though, trying to sort of rip that ball in the tackle. Tommy turnover was lurking, but well kept out. Plus, a lot of pressure on, got busy. Ooh, good hands. Brex. Ooh, good hands. Oh, there it is. Luca Marizzi. Oh, no. And again. Hold on to it. Federico Razza. What is he doing there? Good ball, yeah. Oh, flat. And there's a bit of space in there. And look at Peter. Go. Go. Oh, the ball's gone loose. Oh, turnover ball. Why? Every single time there's a line break and something's looking good. Just that one moment. But a penalty right in front of the poles. And they're going to have a chance here. Take a scrum. Take a scrum. Back yourself. Back yourself. Take a scrum. I tell you, what a run that was. Sorry, not Pettinelli. He's not on. Yeah, Chizzy there. Just opens up for him, and it's a brilliant Luca Beji there, the man winning the penalty. Right, surely you've got to go scrum. You've just scored off a scrum in a set piece. Kale says, appreciate you and West Price putting on a show against the Lions. Great game. Yeah, it looked good. Nicely high scoring game. Wasn't expected too much from the Lions, to be fair. Italy is forcing things. Obviously, they won't win playing like this. Kale saying the way they're playing recently are Italy sleepers to make it to the quarterfinals in the World Cup. Probably not, to be honest. I think a World Cup is you know, when you get to those kind of tournaments, you can only get away with the way they play for so long before it catches up with you. And I think big tournaments are very much one of the situations where you do then sometimes struggle. They have called for the scrum here, by the way, which I think is the right decision. Come on, lads. Let's just I just want to see Wales nip a little bit. Score a try and convert it. They'll go to 24 points to 29, so they have to score once again. They need 2 converted tries at the end of the day to win. They're 12 points behind. But it'll just be fun to watch Wales sweat. Italy score off the back here, get themselves within 5 points. They've got to receive the kickoff. You never know. You never know. Right, so we've got Busy and Tomasa and 2 playmakers on the left-hand side. We're going to have a reset scrum. And then you've got Ignacio Brex with Mauricio on the right-hand side. So I'm a betting man. I would say it's going blindside, but I personally think that this would be one of those situations where as the ball goes under the feet, I think Busy is going to move to the right-hand side. So you've got Brex and Mauricio standing right next to each other. And then on the left-hand side, you've got Busy and Allen. And yeah, this is going to be, I reckon we're going to see Busy change the angle, come to the right-hand side there. You see, they're almost sort of backing. So that's going to be old Thomas Williams going to be back to take on Garbizzi. Yeah, but I reckon this is either going to be Fusco running down the left-hand side, or I reckon Garbizzi's going to change the angle. He's going to wrap around and come down the right and try and bring in Ignacio Brex. And Owen Williams is in a bit of a weird situation where he's not quite sure. You see, there he goes. There they go. Ignacio Brex, first receiver. Gives it to Marizzi. It's a good carry there. Back inside, and it's dropped! That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's always so close, and there's just too many mistakes. And another day, a couple of these passes thick, and they're spilt it forward. 10 handling errors, and this just goes straight, and Zani's not expecting it. Actually comes with the boot, you know. I'm actually not even convinced that it actually comes off the hand. Big Ross Cram there, and they got a penalty advantage. Yeah, it was the last opportunity for Italy to try and do something. Mikhail said, if you could add one international player from any country to the box, who would it be? Yo, that's a big shout. It's a big shout. Probably Anton Dupont. I mean, I love that. But probably Anton Dupont. Who else would be a good addition to the box? The way he's playing, Johnny Sexton wouldn't... well, I think would have a good time as well. Finn Ruskell, if he plays like he is at the moment, could have a jaw. Well, it doesn't really suit the bot game plan, but who else? Who else could be a nice addition to the box and from the international perspective? Don't really need anyone in the tight five. Loose trio as well. I mean, I think probably Anton Dupont would be my go-to player. Right, so I prefer to off the back of the lineup there. You say Italy don't deserve a win throwing it away like that. Yeah, I think that's the point. I think that's the point that Italy have been close with no cigar the entire game, haven't they? Artist Sevilla to replace Dwayne. Yeah, it's a decent shot. That's not a bad shot at all. Yeah, and a penalty there. I mean, this ref almost needs to be told what's going on here. Pierre Bruno is down. Doesn't look very chuffed with life. 3 minutes remaining left, by the way, on the clock. Reece Reeves achieved man of the match. Very impressive game from him today. I was quite excited when he started. I thought that I was going to... I mean, I'm a big Reece Reeves fan. And a lot of people were very upset about it. And they said, why is he starting? He shouldn't be starting. And I kind of had to check myself and think, well, why am I excited he's starting? Why am I the only one that seems to rate this guy? But, hey, what do I know? You only got man of the match. Right, a reminder that after this game, we will be live very shortly for England versus France in our new studio. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be trying it after this game. It's pretty similar look generally, but we can do a lot more with it, which is quite exciting for me. The power's back as well. There comes my fan. Good news there. Good news. So yeah, please do come and join us. And I want to see what you guys have to say about the new studio. Very excited. I was not straight there from Wales. Very excited to show you guys. We sort of, just trying things. We've got a World Cup this year. We've got to try and see what we can do, and the best way to show you guys rugby games. So that's going to be we're going to be trying something after this. Right, so a minute left to Wales. More importantly, I suppose, getting themselves off the mark. A couple of players watching on the likes of Dan Bigger, Adam and Jones, Lee Halfpenny. Well, none of them involved today, but I'm sure will be involved next week in their final game. Right, last opportunity. Lorenzo Canone. Oh, jeepers. And they try to wrap around. Almost go straight into the hands of Thomas Williams. Now got busy back. Oh, no. I love that. I'm going to tell you what. Luke Rizzi's come on and really... Sorry, I mean, Manuel Giuliani's come on and really tried to get involved. And once again, looking to try and run out of the 22. They have to. It's the last 30 seconds, to be fair to them. But they have been doing that the entire game. Got busy now delaying the pass. Going himself. Not running away. So it'll be a penalty. Oh, no. No, now they've realized. Now they've picked up the tackle without the ball. And they lost the line out and they've kicked it out. Right, so Wales finally get themselves off the mark. Big celebration coming in from George North. And for somebody who's been involved in so many big games, that shows you how important that game is for Wales, who've been absolutely appalling, to be perfectly honest, in the Six Nations so far. But more to the point, they've got the victory. Thank you very much, people, for joining me. And part of the not very happy, pretty understandably. We'll see you guys in a little bit for England versus France. It should be a much better game, I hope, a much closer game, hopefully. A little bit of a late fight by Italy, and I think a little bit of a step backwards from them, but I think, lots of work-ons, and they can still become quite a competitive side. Please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel on the way out. As I said, we're looking forward to get 23,600 subscribers, 60 more to go in the next stream, and we'll be there.